It's called The View?
It's called The View. It's not called The Facts.
Yeah, but
Isn't it interesting that it's called, I don't think they meant this when Barbara Walters invented it a long time ago, but it's The View.
Well,
that's the problem in America. There is one view,
right, and
one
that's clearly
true opinion, and everybody else can go sit in the corner.
When Sunny Hostin walked into what felt like a high-pressure showdown, Megyn Kelly and Bill Maher were already locked in and ready. What began as a routine daytime debate quickly transformed into a fierce exchange that felt less like friendly discussion and more like a surprise clash. At first, Sunny appeared calm and confident, speaking smoothly and keeping her composure. But as the conversation intensified, her arguments seemed to lose rhythm, as if the script she relied on had suddenly disappeared. Maher struck first with sharp, pointed remarks, and when Kelly followed with a crisp counter, the atmosphere shifted in an instant. The energy in the room flipped almost overnight, turning a standard panel talk into a moment charged with tension and momentum.
They're disgusting. She's Anna Navarro, in your wildest imagination, you could never solo host a show. You will only ever make it as part of an ensemble, and you could never hope to achieve the success that Tucker Carlson has. So you can sit in your little cheap seats all day long and enjoy your little negative henpecking, but your careers are going nowhere, and Tucker's about to...
In the end, Bill Maher and Megyn Kelly, both known for speaking their minds without waiting for approval, appeared visibly frustrated. They seemed tired of what they saw as Sunny Hostin steering every conversation, shutting down opposing views, and delivering her points from what felt like a moral high ground. Kelly remained steady and precise, choosing her words carefully, while Maher brought his trademark sharp edge that shifted the mood in the room. Together, they challenged Sunny's dominant presence with force and coordination. It didn't feel like a calm debate anymore. It felt like a high-stakes clash of ideas. Sunny came armed with slogans and firm convictions, but Maher and Kelly countered with heavy arguments that pushed back hard. By the time it was over, the exchange resembled less of a panel discussion and more of a full-speed collision of worldviews.
Week over because I got so many texts this week because she attacked me the week before.
Sure.
So everybody was like, "Oh, Bill, I get you're enjoying the karma." First of all, I'm going to talk about this at the end of my show next week, Caesar. But there is no fucking thing as karma. Okay, get over that. Whoopi attacks me on a regular basis. She says stupid shit on a regular basis. It just happened to coincide.
Here comes the familiar highlight of Sunny Hostin's playbook. As a former prosecutor and practicing attorney, she often references her legal background. It has almost become her signature move. In tense debates, she leans on those credentials with confidence, reminding everyone of her courtroom experience and expertise. But here's where critics raise a concern. When credentials take center stage instead of clear reasoning, the argument can lose momentum. To some viewers, it can come across as overly polished, slightly condescending, or disconnected from the actual point being discussed. The result, they argue, feels less like an open exchange of ideas and more like a moral lecture wrapped inside a news segment. Confidence is powerful, but when it replaces conversation rather than strengthening it, the message can miss its marks.
that they air in the mornings, called The View, had to issue not one, not two, not three, but 4 corrections, legal corrections, 4 legal notes. Not to mention what they did at that debate, where once again, they tried to fact check only one side, and then when their fact checks got fact checked, they cowered. They cowered in fear. I mean,
what truly defines Sunny Hostin's style, critics say, is her ability to frame almost any topic as a larger story about social injustice. A lighthearted TikTok trend can quickly become a discussion about bias. A simple dog rescue movie might be interpreted as a symbol of deeper inequality. Even something as ordinary as a jar of mayonnaise can spark a broader cultural debate. To some viewers, it can feel less like a panel discussion and more like a live social media thread, intense, reactive, and emotionally charged. At times, the pace and passion of her commentary appeared to shift the energy at the table. Observers have even joked that while Sunny speaks, Whoopi Goldberg seems momentarily drained, as if the weight of the exchange has taken over the room.
Term you want.
okay.
Because maybe that is a word that's triggering, and so let's not use that word. I don't want to call it the super far left, but don't tell me the left
Maybe the super far right. Well, he's talking about the left. Well, then
okay, but we talked about that. I mean, I think we agree about the danger of the super far right, and I can't say it enough. I think they're the bigger threat. But Don't tell me that the left hasn't changed. I mean, I'm old enough to remember when it was the conservatives who hated the Jews.
Yeah.
So when Megyn Kelly and Bill Maher appeared alongside Sunny Hostin, it felt like more than a routine panel discussion. The exchange quickly became a clash of worldviews. Sunny maintained her familiar tone of moral concern, speaking as if she were evaluating the debate from higher ground. But Kelly and Maher approach arguments differently. They don't rely on lecturing or appealing to applause. They ground their points in examples and structured reasoning. As the discussion intensified and their counterpoints gained traction, critics say Sunny responded in a way viewers have seen before, by raising her voice and leaning harder into passion. The volume increased as the evidence thinned. In that moment, the contrast became clear, one side pressing for logic and clarity, the other amplifying emotion when challenged.
They never will stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
In a moment that felt almost like one of his signature new rules, Bill Maher appeared completely unfazed, letting the tension unfold without forcing the spotlight. There was no talk of karma or punishment, just the quiet irony of a heated exchange unraveling on its own. Maher watched with the calm of a seasoned debater, as if reviewing a flawed thesis rather than engaging in a shouting match, seemingly amused as arguments rooted in moral certainty began to lose their structure. Meanwhile, Megyn Kelly stepped in with a different energy, measured, composed, and methodical. She didn't raise her voice or chase applause. Instead, she broke down each claim piece by piece. Under that steady scrutiny, Sunny Hostin's confident delivery appeared to shift into defensive repetition as the debate moved from bold declarations to increasingly cautious talking points.
Discussion on The View about world superpowers from the sound of it. That's how they got into it. And Sunny Hostin made some comments about patriotism and America and Black America. It's all in there, Jason. I mean, it's all in there. I'm going to tee it up. It starts with Alyssa Farah, who's supposed to be the Republican commentator, and then you'll hear Sunny jump in. Listen.
If America is not the number one global power, it's not going to be Denmark. It's going to be communist China, a country that right now the government is imprisoning Uyghur Muslims in concentration camps. It is a deeply racist government. It's a human rights violating government. It is a government that if they are the leader of the free world, we are not a free world the way that we are right now.
The notion of patriotism and the notion of America and the American flag has been co-opted by the right as if they are true patriots. But when I listen to Christopher Wray, the head of the FBI, he said white supremacy is the biggest domestic threat.
Critics argue that Sunny Hostin is often most effective when she can deliver extended, uninterrupted commentary where momentum and moral clarity carry her points forward. But when that narrative is directly challenged, especially by opponents who remain calm and tightly prepared, the dynamic can shift quickly. In those moments, the confidence that drives her delivery can appear more fragile. What unfolded didn't feel like a minor stumble, but rather a visible unraveling under sustained scrutiny. With no commercial break to reset the tone, the exchange played out in real time, like a carefully stacked house of cards giving way as the cameras kept rolling.
Sworn in as the 47th president of the United States, yay, on January 20th of this month. Not everyone's happy about it, and many people would like us to be more focused on the insurrection that he personally unleashed. If you ask them, as we discussed earlier, they think it's as bad as like the Holocaust, and you don't have to take my word for it. Here is Sunny Hostin of
January
The View.
6th was an atrocity. It was one of the worst moments in American history. And when you think about the worst moments in American history, like World War II, things that happened, like the Holocaust, chattel slavery.
Yeah, the January 6th is right up there next to...
Her calm presence shifts the entire mood, like bright sunlight fading just before a storm rolls in. She doesn't raise her voice or create a scene. Instead, she lays out a clear timeline, backs it up with solid facts, and points to sources and receipts that support every claim. It almost feels like magic the way everything falls neatly into place. Megyn Kelly builds her case with steady, carefully reasoned points, each one deliberate and precise. That steady approach throws the surrounding theatrics into sharp relief. As Megyn methodically presents evidence, Sunny Hostin begins gesturing awkwardly, stretching explanations, and launching into new arguments midstream, like a debate coach interrupting a student halfway through a sentence to change direction.
Boom, they all talk with him. I want you to look at Sunny Hostin's body language and the way they look at him and everything else. Just because he is a lefty who hasn't gone completely bananas, here they are talking about the word woke.
The term woke has been, in my view, co-opted by the right and weaponized and bastardized. And so I was surprised to hear you use the term because historically, as you know, because I think you're quite brilliant, that woke is a word used by the Black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But words
and so
migrate.
why is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing, and originally that was absolutely a great thing. Alert to injustice, who's not for that? But
Megyn Kelly answers what she sees as emotional distractions with sharp, focused rebuttals. The exchange can feel mismatched, like showing up to a chess match with crayons. Each time Kelly introduces a checkable fact, the tension rises, and Sunny Hostin appears increasingly flustered. In response, she frames numbers as unfair pressure and sarcasm as a personal attack. The moment grows theatrical and uncomfortable to watch, almost as if the argument itself is being reshaped in real time.
Goldberg was angry when Alyssa pointed out that Trump went to the funeral of Officer Diller on Long Island, and Joe Biden went to a podcast. Look at Whoopi Goldberg's reaction.
Choose what you like there, but for Republicans, it was good imagery.
Really?
One day later, yes.
And I'm asking that because I was so offended because you know who showed up.
Yeah.
And he was, whether he was asked or not. This
He
is a
was
man who
invited.
didn't care what happened to the officers on January 6th.
She promotes Joe Biden and Kamala Harris every day on that show. Trump wasn't supportive enough of the cops who were, yes, in danger on J6. How does that explain their behavior on a...
Hasn't one of comedy's oldest rules always been that no one is off limits? Comedians tease everyone. That's how they make their living. Yet whenever Bill Maher delivers a joke, Sunny Hostin reacts as if she's reciting from an old school notebook, responding with visible frustration instead of laughter. When she tried to outmaneuver both Maher and Megyn Kelly at the same time, the moment quickly unraveled. She scattered partial historical references and dense legal terms across the discussion. And what was meant to sound analytical ended up feeling more like a rushed online fact check than a steady, confident argument.
So last week you called white Republican women cockroaches.
Actually, I didn't. And
You said they're acting like cockroaches.
I used it as let me answer that.
Okay.
Here's what I'm going to ask you all to do. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you to tone it down a bit because I can't hear anything. No one can hear what's being
She
saying.
just said I called
You
white
understand
women
why
roaches.
people
All right, we're
think
going to
that
go
I
to
did.
break.
Bill Maher leaned back in his chair, calm and unshaken, with the relaxed air of someone who has handled moments like this for decades. To him, debates like this seem almost routine, just another day at the office. As Sunny Hostin moved into yet another self-assured monologue, you could almost imagine him thinking about the ride home. Meanwhile, Megyn Kelly served as the steady balance to the turmoil, her expression alone firm enough to settle a noisy room. The harder Sunny pressed her case about moral responsibilities surrounding the facts, the clearer it became that the argument was starting to come apart.
Okay, that hat that you keep wearing, that red hat that says "Make America Great Again," that tells people that you go along with this. So you might as well just put a swastika on the hat.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Because we say it anyway.
I'm not going to defend Donald Trump ever, but I would never say that we should put the swastika on the cap because I think you can hate Donald Trump. You can't hate everybody who likes him. It's half the country. I don't want to live in that country. I don't want to live in the country where I hate half the country and I don't hate half the country.
What began as a conversation slowly shifted into something closer to a televised reality check. Sunny Hostin seemed to lean on anger when her arguments faltered, while Megyn Kelly stayed composed and Bill Maher countered with dry humor. When reasoning appeared to slip, Sunny turned to portraying herself as wronged, as if that might reset the momentum. Maher didn't take the bait. He simply pointed out the strangeness of the moment. One voice centered on opinion, the other two anchored in what they described as fact. What unfolded wasn't a dramatic breakdown, but an intellectual one. Under mounting pressure, Sunny's confidence seemed to fracture, leaving behind the sound of her own contradiction. It wasn't just a debate that slipped away.